I played against Steph Curry from the time I was 9 years old till he graduated high school, and we were in the same conference at Wesleyan together.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. But I mean, it's wild to see somebody like that. Like I saw him from 9 years old, and I remember because every time we had a game, my dad would walk in and be like, "Hey, you see that guy right there? Steph Curry. He played for the Charlotte Hornets." I heard this story a million times about who he played for. He's like, "That's his son." He's like, "We got to go after him today." You know what I mean? Like, he was like, "So we can't let you got to show him what's up." Like every time. And then I remember our senior year, or his senior year, my junior year. I fifth year at one point, but like we were playing at Wesleyan, and I think it was like the first time we had beat Charlotte Christian, which is the school he went to, like in like 25 years, something like that at home.
I have a friend that his kids go to Charlotte Christian.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And John Boy and Billy, these guys at the radio station, their son was on that team too.
Oh, okay.
But I remember whenever we had a game, because Wesleyan, they usually have a pretty good sports team. And like whenever we played Charlotte Christian or Greenwood Day or something like that, like we'd have these huge crowds, man. I mean, it'd be like a college game. It was wild, sold out stuff. But I remember we beat them, and I guarded them. And to this day, I want to put it on record. I'll play one-on-one now if he wants to, but I'm pretty sure I'm the last guy to keep him to 15 points. It was like 15 or 12 points, something like that. Guarded him the whole game. We locked him down. I remember everybody rushed the court afterwards. My dad lifted me up in the air and stuff like that. And we just thought we won the state championship. You know what I mean? I was just excited I beat Curry for once.
Better.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Then Curry said, "Never again."
I'm the reason why he got good. I'm pretty sure. Go ahead and clip that. Go ahead, Seth. Clip that. We're going to put that one out.
Tag him. We'll do a collab reel with him.
Anytime. If he wants to make it. So I got on ESPN.
Steph Curry's like, Hulin who?
Yeah, I know. That's right. That's what it took so long to get on here. They were like, "Listen, we got to get all the ugly white people on here first, and then we'll have Hulin on here."
I like it. Yeah, because you've got to contend with.
I know the hair, man. That's what I like.
You got to go selfie mode and fix it. There you go.
Hell yeah, I'm at it. I forgot we're gonna have to wear it. Damn, I wore my hair down just for y'all and everything. This will be
the start of the episode. Just you trying to get your headphones.
Get my hair right. Hell yeah, that's what's up.
I like it. We'll have all the ladies in. It'll be like fire symbol emojis, and
I'm glad we didn't have to show what I had to do to get on the show. Right before the show. It was fun. Y'all told me one, but like three, man. That was kind of crazy.
That was the curveball.
I kept asking him. I was like, "What do you got to do, man? It's been like a year and a half now." He keep. He was like, "Listen, all right, Hulin. We'll have you on butt."
No stipulation.
So how long did it take for you to figure out that he wanted his leg off before you did that?
That was a weird one. I kept asking if he wanted to prop it up or if he wanted to like just bend it behind him or something like that, just get it out of the way. Then he just threw it off.
Anyway,
I got 5.
So what's up, dude?
No, not too much, man.
Good to finally get you in here, man.
Yeah.
How old's the kid?
I've got 2. I've got a 6-year-old, and then my oldest one. He actually just turned 12 yesterday. April 5th.
So I got 6, 10, and 12. So
two separate moms.
Yep. The oldest one. That's why I joined the military because I'd been dating the oldest one's mom for a while, and then everybody has accidents and stuff. She somehow talked me into it. Like it wasn't like a complete accident. You know what I mean? Like she had it in my like. All right, so she'd gotten pregnant one time before. It was an accident. It was a miscarriage, stuff like that. It really hurt her, and we'd been dating a while and stuff. And then I don't know, we talked about it and stuff, and somehow it came up that we wanted to get. It was like dumb stuff at 22 and 23.
Well, yeah,
now, looking at it now, but like I'd grown up. Not a big family at all. Like I had family, but it wasn't a big family. It was mainly just me, my mom, my dad, my brother. Right. It was always like the only time other family was involved is like on holidays. You know what I mean? But we were never really a big community of people per se. You know what I mean? We went to my great grandmother's every Sunday after church, and we ate lunch. Like that was about as far as that was my family. My great grandmother, great uncle, them. But and I was also grow up like a loner. I played sports and stuff, but I never really I don't know, I've never really been able to connect with people too much unless
Yeah.
I was on stage. Like when it's one-on-one stuff like this, like it's hard. Don't really like make eye contact longer than I have to and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Especially with Neil's leg.
yeah, because
Neil's leg over here looking at you too.
Hey,
no, his glassy eyes
Angle that
scared
mic.
me. Oh, right here.
twist that mic a little.
Yeah, you want it almost in your mouth, you know,
Right here.
like you had earlier.
Oh, I
just
can hear
point-
now. I was wondering why people wear these things on there. Hell yeah.
Just
That's what's
point it
up,
at your
guys.
mouth. Yeah.
yeah.
that's the main
Yeah.
thing.
If you,
Point it- are we talking it? Oh, we still talking about my
yeah, but Neil can be. I've. It doesn't bother me, but I have, especially in the past, people be like, "Oh, Neil can be intense." I was like, "Yeah, I can see that. I guess." Yeah.
It used to be. I'm a lot less.
I don't know if it's intent. Like I can see that. Like because I feel like I got the same thing growing up. Like I remember I went to a bunch of different schools growing up for different reasons. And last one I went to, I remember was a high school. I went to Wesleyan.
Yeah.
I remember going there. Right. So like I said, I grew up. And I was always like the big kid growing up. Like I was very athletic, but I was still like husky as shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember when I went to this school. So I went from a small private Christian school that's not around anymore, but where in the entire grade there was 13 people.
Wow.
And you went to school with these kids from I mean, some of these kids went to school from kindergarten to 12th grade with only the same 13 kids in the grade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Some benefit to that though.
it is.
Yeah.
But like I came out and I went there like middle of 5th grade or something like that. Everybody had already made their bonds. I mean, with 13 kids, you know what I mean? People had already made bonds and stuff. So it was hard to fit in and stuff. Sports kind of helped me out. But I was still always the fat kid. You know what I mean? Nobody ever looked at me like I was whatever. And then one summer, right before I went to Wesleyan, shot up a couple inches, lost 30 pounds or so. I was like, all right, I'm going to pull like a Disney movie. And like, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to have a whole new persona. I'm going to do like something you saw off there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I tried it, but because I was never good at talking to people. So I was like, all right, I'm going to be the new silent kid. Like just the kid with like, that's mysterious. You know what I mean? Grew out the hair, dyed it and shit. And like, I went in there. Girls loved me, but the guys hated me. Like none of the guys liked me. Plus I was I went in as a sophomore. So I was going to 5th year senior and play basketball and stuff.
Yeah.
So like I went in as a sophomore, and when I did, I was the only one playing varsity at the time, and they hated me for that too. You know what I mean? So it was like all the girls, even the older ones, you know, were kind of like talking about. That didn't last long, by the way. There's one guy that made a mission that didn't last long. You know what I mean? But so that's why you know. It's always kind of codependent, and relationships were kind of my thing back in the day. You know what I mean? It was like I was the Michael Phelps of relationship jumping. That's why we decided to have the kid, I guess. I was like, I wanted somebody to love me.
How long did that last though? It probably eased off after the first year though, right?
What?
The non-acceptance.
Not my senior year. I actually I got kicked off the basketball team because I was getting recruited to some small like D2, D3 schools, stuff like that. And I got some walk-on offership like to 1 or 2 D1. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And my senior year, my parents had gotten divorced. And like I said, it's codependent. And like I still to this day, I've gotten used to it. I've accepted it, but I hated change with a passion growing up. Like I like status quo. I like my dad a few times tried to go on different vacations growing up, and like, God, am I kicking myself now? But like for 21 years, went to Myrtle Beach, and like mainly that was because of me. Like, you know what I mean?
You
like,
don't want to go anywhere else?
no,
Yeah.
like, cause like I knew we went there 1 week during the summer. Like I liked knowing that I was gonna go there 1 week during the summer and things like that. But like I hated change, and
So you just decided to go into comedy where it's just constantly
yeah,
changing.
absolutely, absolutely. Face your fears, baby. You know what I mean? And comedy helped me actually become not codependent too. I think being able just to focus on that, you know what I mean, instead of a relationship for the first time ever, really was when that second divorce happened. But senior year, man, they had me. That happened, and then I broke up with my high school sweetheart, right? And that was a weird situation too. That was back when AIM was a thing. You remember AOL, Instant Messenger?
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah,
had those
yeah.
cool. We all had the cool usernames and stuff.
Dang blasted robot.
There we go. Hell yeah. Mine was Y2Taz 00 for the longest time because like I remember I made it right when Y2K happened.
Yeah.
You know, and Taz was my favorite cartoon character and wrestler growing up. And I was like Y2Taz. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And but they tricked me. That was like the first like catfish with like girls. They all got together. Was like trying to see if I would cheat on them. It was like a bait and switch thing. One of the friends like hit me up. I didn't fall for it right away. Like kept fighting and fighting. They really had to get me. You know what I mean? I finally said one thing, and I get this phone call from her, and then like everybody in the school, they turned everybody in the school against me. I remember eating lunch in the bathroom stalls my senior year and shit. And like I'd also it gotten so bad. That's when I started smoking weed. I was straight edge of shit. Never drank, never smoked. I was like all basketball, sports, whatever. And then all this happened, and I was like, well, why not at this point? You know what I mean? Because like I had an issue too, because like I went to like that Wesleyan and stuff. Those kids, they're all honored and blessed to be there, and there are a lot of good people there with good hearts. A lot of them do go on to do a lot of great things in missionary fields or Christian field, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Or just
pastors,
just business,
good people. Yeah, stuff like that.
stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a great school for stuff like that. But I mean, also I've been to public, private, and then like those college prep schools. And I would rather have physical bullying than some of the those people are too smart. You know what I mean? Like young ages, those are some smart, maniacal people. All right, like when you're smart at that age, and then you also have those teenage feelings too. You can come up with some mean shit to do to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, it was bad there, man. But I'm friends with some of them now. You know, after high school, everybody grows up. You know, and I think I've reconnected.
Well, most
some, yeah. True.
Some people will kind of get stuck in time.
It is, yeah. But I mean, I've had a few people even reach out since I started doing this stuff, and one of the guys that was actually really hard on me and stuff. We've actually become really good, you know, friends now and acquaintances.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It was like the guy that was probably the biggest antagonist now. He'll reach out to me every once in a while and be like, "Hey, man, I see what you're doing. You're doing great. You know, it's crazy, this, that, and the other," which is kind of cool. You know what I mean?
Awesome,
I mean, the guy, you know. It's nice to see that people really can change and stuff like that.
Usually the people that do well, they change. It's the ones that don't make it, they kind of try to hang on to that old lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just saw a post, you know, and I hate this stuff that pops up on my feed, and it was a guy that I went to school with that was walking around, and I swear he looked like he was wearing the same clothes he used to wear then, at least the same image, right?
Yeah.
Like these big baggy shorts. Nothing against big baggy shorts, but just these massively oversized baggy shorts, pants hanging down. Just oversized, all the way buttoned down, like you know, like that, and the hat on, and the guy's he's a little older than I am. I think he's 40, and I'm just like, what are you doing? And he's like bucking up to people, and like they're recording it, and I'm like, and the guys he's doing it to are half his age.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is this guy doing? He's literally stuck. He's the same guy I remember, right? Like identical. He hasn't changed at all.
It's odd.
He just looks like he's aged, you know.
Yeah.
That's it. And he hasn't taken care of himself either. So I mean, he looks rough. But I don't know. I see that, and I see other things. I'm just like, wow.
I also
Those
feel
guys usually don't last very long either.
No, that's true.
I feel like they don't ever find their thing either, though. Like they don't try to find their thing or their passion. Like they like that one feeling that they had at that age or that time in their life, and they're just like they're trying to recapture that, and they don't realize there's other ways to do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They're like, well, nah, that one was the best way. Let's just keep doing this. Eventually, it'll work again.
They don't like change.
Yeah, don't like change, man.
Yeah, and they probably have some real serious issues from their childhood and stuff that's
we all
kind of pushed them that way. Yeah. Some people are just able to overcome those better than others.
Yeah.
I got a few.
I
got a few things on my
I'm
list.
sure that all of us have quite a few. Yeah.
I think everybody does it on their own timeline too.
I agree with that. I think it's hard to, you know, there are people in different phases, right? And it takes a minute for you just ignore it until you finally start to process your shit. And I feel like as a guy, it's highly, at least when I was younger, I felt like it was highly discouraged to talk about your feelings or to have emotion, or
especially where we grew up.
Or to be able to vent, you know. And I'm not, you know, it is what it is, and I've definitely called my friends a bitch or whatever, you know, like in a joking way, like, you know, don't be a pussy, like, come on, you're fine. But like it used to be to a level like you know, any level of complaint, any level of thing, like, you know, it was just shunned.
Oh yeah.
Whereas you know, maybe talking about it or reflecting on it, because I was an asshole to several people, and I previous podcasts, I've went back and I've talked about that. I've tried to rectify it, but you know, it just takes that stuff weighing on your mind or your heart or whatever for an extended period of time. For some people like me, it took a long time for me to go, what the hell were you doing? Like, why would you do that, right? It's just cruel for no reason sometimes.
There's an intellectual element to it too, I think.
Yeah.
That's a big problem with a lot of people in society. Maybe they're not sharp enough to kind of move on to that next stage.
Yeah. There was also, for me, it was like just trying to figure out, sometimes people are the way they are because of their environment or their circumstance, or like they're just happy. Like, it didn't dawn on me until I became much older and we started having children in the foster care system. It didn't dawn on me that sometimes the only food kids ate was when they were at school.
Yeah.
Or the only place they weren't getting the shit kicked out of them and felt safe was at school. Right. Or like, I mean, and these are people, I'm giving specific examples of people I used to pick on that hit home for me. Or they didn't have clean clothes. They smelled bad because they didn't have running water or washer and dryer. Like it's like, I didn't think about that stuff at that age, and I was a dick, to put it lightly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So like that stuff, and then it just weighs on you, and then you come back around and go, no kid wants those problems, and then school's supposed to be their safe place, and then here's Daniel being an asshole, right? So like, I go back and think about that, and it weighs on you, and then you go, okay, well, I need to make this right? So, and unfortunately, you can't change the past, but I can kind of change how I act and how my behaviors and how I talk about things, and then also reach back out to those individuals. It's amazing how you remember them.
Yeah.
They probably won't never forget me, but I don't. I remember them vividly as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the relationship is, but so you just try and make it right and try to be a better person and move forward, and then also try to give my kids some of that so that they understand.
We grew up in
Oh no, go ahead.
we grew up in a small town, and I went to a smaller school than you did. I went to
Yeah.
one of the county schools, and so a lot of the kids I went to school with, we grew up together. We went, a lot of those kids, we went to school from kindergarten through 12th grade, and we're still friends on social media, a lot of us, and it's an interesting dynamic, the relationship you have with those other people that you grew up with, because we don't really know each other now, but we sort of keep up with each
There's
other.
a connection, yeah.
Yeah, we all care about what each other's doing, and that's pretty interesting. But what your kids are a little older than my daughter, but what are the issues your kids are facing in school today compared to what the stuff that you dealt with, and then how do you help them navigate these things?
Well, thinking about it growing up, I don't know, up until a few years ago, really when I started doing comedy and stuff too, just as and you start accessing every point of your life. You're trying to find the funniest stuff,
Yeah.
but you see all your heroes talking about some sad shit on TV, and like for me, I like the guys that would, you're really taking some dark stuff, you're making light of it, you know what I mean? And I started digging around, and one of the good things that came out of it is I found out that I think I went through all that stuff that I went through to help my kid, because my youngest one, he's got the juice. Like he's got the charisma. Like everybody, you know what I mean, is flocked to him, stuff like that. But I didn't have that growing up. But my oldest one, the one that lost his mom in September, 3 days before school started, he has a hard time with his personality and everything that's went on and the way he is. He has a hard time just being somewhere. Like he wants to be center of attention, and unfortunately, like he does it to a certain extent where it like hurts him and his surroundings with his friends and stuff like that. So people don't want to be around him. You know what I mean? And so he got picked on a lot. Plus he was so after when he lost his mom, talking about getting picked on. So when he lost his mom, the first day he actually went to school. So it was 2 or 3 days after school started. First day you get to school, I'm at the bus stop. I want to make sure I'm there to see him get off his first day, stuff like that. I'm sitting at the bus stop, and where my apartment complex was, I was like sitting about, let's say 50 yards where the actual bus drops him off, right? And I'm watching him, and I see him running up here excited. I thought he had dropped something. Turns out he was tripped, but I thought he had dropped something. He gets up like another 20 or 30 feet, and I see this kid, and he's running. He's got his stuff in his hands because he's that ADD and just out there. He never puts it in his book bag. You know what I mean? And like a kid comes up, trips him again. And then by the time he gets up, the kid lifts him up and then like throws him on the, concrete and stuff like that. And then it took everything I had not to absolutely, I mean, it's a 12-year-old. a younger me with a kid probably would have done something stupid. You know what I mean? But like I feel like I'm mature enough now. You know, I can actually. My kids flash through my head before I do something too stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you can't do, especially when you're a single dad and they don't have another parent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to really weigh in on decisions sometimes, especially in the environments that I get put around and stuff like that. You know,
Did you talk to the kids' parents?
No, I tried to find. I had to end up going through the school and stuff like that. And but after that, man, he had ended up having to move schools with him and stuff. And I explained to him before he went to this next school though. So those types of scenarios happened almost weekly for him. Like he was getting, he was getting picked on. And I mean, it has nothing. It's not. I'm not making it a race thing. I'm just saying he was one of the only white kids at that school, and they let him know it. You know what I mean? And it's just what happened.
Yeah.
You know, and it was weird to see some of this stuff in kids. To be honest with you, everybody talked about learned behavior. I mean, some of that stuff. If you go to an elementary school and you see some of the things that these kids are saying and acting towards other kids for whatever reason, that's not them. You know what I mean? That's not the kids.
No, it's the parents.
That is 100%.
Or
it's
a lack of parents. Especially if you're in a school that's economically challenged, you're going to deal with a lot of kids that have very little structure.
If you don't have parents raising kids, you got the streets raising kids.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, then you have some rough kids.
So that their parent is somebody that's not a good role model.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
But he
I guess it depends on what you're solving for. If you're teaching a child to have to figure out how to survive on their own, they're going to become violent, right? Like it's a self-defense. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying it's like a self-defense. It's a self-defense mechanism. But, you know, so my kids weren't subjected to that. I grew up on military bases, right? So my dad went in the military. He didn't go in as an officer with a degree. He, you know, we went in a traditional way, and I grew up on military bases. So I was a minority. Because military bases are predominantly African-American, right? But I fit in really well, but I also dealt with my fair amount of that. But I also became very comfortable in that environment, and I excelled in it at some point. It was culture shock when I got to Asheboro.
Yeah.
So I got to Asheboro, and it was all white people, basically. And it was like, what in the world? At that time.
Well, you know, it's interesting, too, the way we were raised. I got my ass beat a lot. Too much. I mean, really, I think any's too much, and I don't spank my daughter. There's no reason. Like I can just raise my voice and it solves any issue there may be. But I think a lot of that is. I was talking about this recently with another buddy of mine. I think a lot of the thought process behind physical punishment for children or physical discipline, especially with like my parents' generation and their parents' generation, my parents and before. You know, they lived in a much more difficult time than what we experience, and I think for them a part of the physical punishment was they were trying to make you tough. You know, life is hard. Life is constantly showing you new challenges, and life can be relentless. And because my parents were really hard on me like that, and it makes the more difficult things in life seem a lot easier for me, and everybody doesn't react that way, but I think it made me a lot tougher, and I still don't think it's a good thing, but it did benefit me in some ways. But I mean, wouldn't you agree? Like even in school, if somebody's picking on you or trying to bully you or running your mouth, you just punch them in the face. Because it's like, what are you going to do that is worse than what my parents have done to me already? You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
I can handle the pain. Like if you know what I mean? So it's like, you're not going to fuck with me. I'm going to fuck you up. And you still might win, but I don't care. You know, and that's a part of, and it's not a good thing, but I think that's part of the thought process.
It wasn't productive for me, but I definitely had that. Because I would basically just be like, I'd be like, win or lose, you know, like I'm in it.
I'm not a victim.
Yeah. So I'm gonna fuck your shit up. Actually, there was once or twice when I was younger, I'd come back for round 2. You know, it'd be like the next day I felt like I improved. I don't know why, but you know, I'm gonna.
At least you were big though. I was a smaller kid, so
well, that was
it didn't always work out the best for me.
That's what always blew my mind. I was big, and then they still picked on me. Like, I was the biggest dude in the class at the time, and like, you know, I'm not. And I was always chasing around a little kid, but like I took martial arts like before it was cool. Like I was into MMA and UFC, like UFC 1, you know, Shamrock shit. Like I was in it before it was cool. And like I remember talent shows growing up. That was my talent. You know what I mean? I started taking it when I was 5. By the time I was 9 and a half, I'd gotten, and I don't know if I still am, but at one point for Taekwondo of America, I was, at least for North Carolina, but at one point I think for United States youngest person to get a black belt, like I was 9.5. Like back in the day, you know, and I failed it the first time at 9 because I couldn't break the brick yet. You know what I mean? But like I do for, you know, those kind of things, we do that. And then everybody always wanted to test you back in the day. You know, everybody was like, all right, come on, Karate Kid. There's always do like the stupid crane kick. Like, let's get it. I was like, motherfucker, nobody does that shit. And I'm gonna knock you in the nose while you got your nose up. You know what I mean? It's like they only test you once though. Like then I usually did it well enough where then nobody else wanted to like mess with me for a while. You know what I mean?
It doesn't take a lot usually.
But that carried on. That type of anger, I think, I feel like y'all harnessed it as y'all got older. Mine, like I said, it took me a little bit longer to get up because I remember even in like high school, like I got called, or at a younger age, like I was like the Phil Lambeer. I don't know if y'all familiar with basketball. But like you know, the Detroit big white dude, Detroit played dirty as hell. Like that was me though. Like I had to play. Like I was wasn't like the superstar, but you know, like I usually was in the starting lineup every team I played for. You know what I mean? And I played. I don't even like watching basketball anymore because like I grew up.
Me neither, by the way.
I'll watch some college every now and then because that's kind of the closest thing we're going to get to a decent game. But like everybody's always talking about this and that. Who's the greatest? I was like, why can't we just enjoy the game of basketball? Like whatever happened to that. But plus, I played against Steph Curry from the time I was 9 years old till he graduated high school, and we were in the same conference at Wesleyan together.
That's got amazing.
Yeah. But I mean, it's wild to see somebody like that. Like I saw him from 9 years old, and I remember because every time we had a game, my dad would walk in and be like, "Hey, you see that guy right there? Steph Curry. He played for the Charlotte Hornets." I heard this story a million times about who he played for. He's like, "That's his son." He's like, "We got to go after him today." You know what I mean? Like he was like, "So we can't let you got to show him what's up." Like every time. And then I remember our senior year, or his senior year, my junior year, I fifth year at one point, but like. We were playing at Wesleyan, and I think it was like the first time we had beat Charlotte Christian, which is the school he went to, like in like 25 years, something like that at home. You know?
I have a friend that his kids go to Charlotte Christian.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And John Boy and Billy, these guys at the radio station, their son was on that team too.
Oh, okay.
I remember whenever we had a game, because Wesleyan, you know, they usually have a pretty good sports team. And like whenever we played Charlotte Christian or Greensboro Day or something like that, like we'd have these huge crowds, man. I mean, it'd be like a college game. It was wild, sold out. Stuff, but I remember we beat him, and I guarded him. And to this day, I want to put it on record. I'll play one-on-one now if he wants to, but I'm pretty sure I'm the last guy to keep him to 15 points. It was like 15 or 12 points, something like that. You know, guarded him the whole game. We locked him down. I remember everybody rushed the court afterwards. My dad lifted me up in the air and stuff like that. Like, we just thought we won the state championship. You know what I mean? I was just excited. I beat Curry for once.
Better.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then Curry said, "Never again."
I'm the reason why he got good. I'm pretty sure. Go ahead and clip that. Go ahead, Seth. Clip that. We're going to put that one up.
Tag him. We'll do a collab reel with him.
Anytime. If he wants to make. So I got on ESPN.
Steph Curry's like Hulin who?
Yeah, I know. Right? The one time I got on ESPN was it was when he was going, I think, through his first MVP run. It was his first time he was about to get MVP or something like that. So we're doing this big special on him and all this stuff. You know, it's on Christmas Day. Right. And I get a message. That guy I was talking about, we were on the same basketball team and stuff like that. So he messaged me on Christmas Day, whenever that was going on. And he was like, "You recognize anybody?" And he sent me a screenshot of the clip. And I was guarding Steph Curry at Charlotte Christian. And they just showed him because it was the one time, like, he had a bad shot back in the day. I mean, everybody, he'll say, you know what I mean? Like, it was the summer before he went to Davidson where he actually, you know, got a shot right and stuff. But he used to have what I call like a slingshot shot. It's where the guys pulled up the shot all the way because they're not strong enough and like do that, you know? And so he was, they just had him on his follow through, and they had me, you know, guarding him. And I said, "Y'all didn't show what happened after he shot. All right, he missed that shot." I was like, "That is great form, but he missed that shot. Why can't I get on ESPN doing something good, man? Y'all are showing something he didn't even do good. All right, give me some credit for something. I shut him down, man. It's messed up, man." But hilarious. I don't know. That's always just been a thorn in the side because I played against him, Brendan Haywood, the Gators team. So I played on a team called the North Carolina Gators, right? And the 19 and under team that won the national championship that year, they were scrimmaging us because we were about to go to it's either state finals or we were going to a national tournament or something. But we were scrimmaging them. And on that team, 1900 team, they had Brendan Haywood, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, Chris Bosh, David Noel.
Dream team.
Like seriously, they had like 7, 8 former or soon to be like NBA superstars on that floor. And then I almost got punched out by Brendan Haywood one time too. Because that coach I was telling you about, he showed me how to play dirty. So they showed me how to play against bigger guys than me, right?
Yeah.
One of the things he showed me was he was like, all right, you got a big guy, got a guy that's huger than you on the post, right? He's like, when he turns around or if he squares up on you before he goes up for a shot, he was like, I want you to just step on his foot because the refs aren't looking at the feet. You know what I mean? He's like, just step on his foot. I was like, all right. So I've been having this in my head. The first time I decided to try this out was on Brendan Haywood. All right, we were scrimmaging them. Brendan Haywood turns around. He goes up for a shot. I step on his foot, and I guess about broke his ankle or something because he swung. And like I like lean back, and then my dad comes on the court and has to like hold back Brendan Haywood from like going at me on the basketball court. But those are the fun times that I've had playing basketball. Yeah. That's why I don't like watching it anymore. Yeah,
that's funny.
That is funny.
So comedy's going pretty good for you. What?
Yeah, it's been going all right lately. I feel like I've caught some breaks, but I don't know. I felt.
Because you're getting like consistent work at Comedy Zone, man.
It's
cool.
It took me, I don't know. So like when I first started, I felt like I got lucky. Like I started during the pandemic. The first time I actually grabbed a mic on stage it'll be 3 years in, it's like September, October, something like that, you know. And so I did a bunch of just writing, but I've always wanted to. I just didn't think I didn't know that you could. For the longest time, like I really thought geniuses were the only ones that could be comedians, and now I know geniuses you don't have to be. All right? Like, does not take being like a smart person. You just got to be entertaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, because the first CD I ever got growing up, I remember when I got my when the portable CD players came out. You know, everybody had to have a portable CD player.
Oh yeah.
And I begged my mom and dad for one for Christmas. Finally got it, and I got 2 CDs that year. I got Tim McCraw's Greatest Hits. And then I got Mitch Hedberg's all together.
Oh, that's great. You still have that?
Yeah.
Cool.
It was a 3-disc one. It was the one where he had like it was like 2 specials or something like that, and then it had like because it was a Comedy Central thing back in the day.
Yeah.
Then it had a DVD too, you know.
Nice.
But yeah, and I remember the joke that got me into it too was it's not even the full one, but he's talking about Ritz crackers. He was like, why is everybody trying to put stuff on Ritz? You know what I mean? So everybody's trying to put pepperonis on Ritz, cheese on Ritz. He's like, why are they treating it like an edible plate? You know what I mean? He's like, why can't you just put a Ritz on a Ritz? And it's not even that funny. It's just the idea of a Ritz being an edible plate blew my mind.
Yeah.
I thought he was a genius for saying that. You know what I mean? I thought that was the craziest thing in the world. But when I got started during the pandemic, I joined this writing group online. We did Zoom things almost every day where it was just like sometimes 3 or 4 of us in a Zoom thing trying our jokes out. You know what I mean? Which if you ever want to feel like you want to like fully commit suicide, just do that for about 6 months, and you will hang yourself. It is the work because you like.
Well, it sounds like that's a better way to do it as a writing thing instead of a show.
I think it may be better for the fact that like when you do something like that, like especially on Zoom and stuff, you don't get any feedback really. Like you might see facial expressions and you might be able to hear a few laughs, but when you're doing jokes with 3 or 4 people, if you can make 3 or 4 people finally. Like that you've been talking to for months, finally like make some type of noise or gesture or something. I feel like you had something there.
Yeah,
you know
dude, it's
I mean?
like during the pandemic, we were doing mics at the Idiot Box and stuff with 6 people. It was really difficult because it's so intimate.
Yeah.
Which is great. I think that makes your comedy better because my goal is when I'm on stage, I want it to be intimate, even if it's a full room. I want people to feel like I'm having a real conversation with them.
Right.
And that helps a lot with that.
Yeah, and then and I don't know. After I actually like started doing mics, I realized it was completely different. Like I had so much confidence on the Zoom thing, and then you get up and do like a real mic, and like it was the worst. I remember the worst time ever, and I almost stopped doing it then too. It was like 2 or 3 months into it. It was at the Idiot Box. I remember sitting in the back, and it was a Thursday mic because it was a long one, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting back there, and I'm excited when I first get there because I had these new stuff I wanted to go up there and talk about. I'm excited, and then as I'm there, I start thinking about other things I want to say and things like that. And so then I start writing down other things. And so now, and when you first start writing and you think you've got something good, you think it's the best thing ever. And then everything after that, you're like, oh, that's funnier than that. Oh, no, that's funnier than that. So like I had a set I was going to say when I was going in there. 2 hours later now, I've had too much time to think.
Yeah.
All right. I've had some drinks now, and I go up there. I have my phone in one hand, and I have my notebook in the other. And I go up to the mic. I just don't say anything.
Just all in your head.
Yes. I was just looking. I was just swiveling for 35 seconds easily. Just couldn't say noise. And I finally just looked up at him. I was like, I'm sorry. And I walked off. And I walked right out to my car. And I went right home. And I was like, well, that was a good try. I can say in my life I tried to be a stand-up. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
And then I think it was a few weeks later. I don't know why. I think this was right before I split up. Or I think this is when I split up with the most recent ex, about 2.5, 3 years. Yeah. But I was sitting in the car because I didn't want to go into the house one day. And I sat in the car for like 4 hours and just started writing. And I came up with like 3 minutes worth of stuff, which in the stories. I've always wanted to be a storyteller, and I didn't know how to do it. And so I'm slowly trying to get into like long form storytelling. I like that. I like being able to talk to somebody. Yeah. I also feel like it's a cheat code for me because you don't have to have them laughing every 5 seconds. As long as the payoff's good.
Well, you got to build in
you got the tension. I love the tension. I love when you can get the tension in the room just pin drop quiet, and then you can hit them with something decent, and it just like explodes or something like that.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. But yeah. And I remember going to I think it was that joke, the Pokeballs joke that I did, and then something about it was another one that I've told before. They used to be in there all the time, but yeah, it was like 3 minutes and it worked. And like I got laughs the whole time. I was like, okay, I'm in. You know what I mean?
You've solved it.
And but everything that I studied when I got it,
you're on the right path.
Yeah.
No, that was his mental state. I've solved it.
Yeah. But when I got into it though, like I think a lot of people, especially creative, businessmen type people, like you get fixated. You almost get tunnel vision on that stuff. So like.
It's unfortunate, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right. It's very, very useful.
It is extremely.
And my ADD so bad, like I can read stuff, but it is hard for me to sit down and actually read a book or something and retain whatever I'm reading. Like my mind wanders too much. So I do a lot of Audible stuff, right? So when I was at work, I bought all these things on Audible, like 28-hour books on comedy writing and stuff like that. And a lot of them had central themes, and all of them that I tried to make my own thing. One of the central themes was like become a host. It's like if you want to get good early on, the best way to do it is if you can find somewhere to host, something to do host, because you get the most stage time, the pressure's off. You're not supposed to be the funniest when you're the host.
Yeah,
you're supposed to set the room up for the funny people. I think a lot of people mess up hosting sometimes too, because I've seen them come in there. They won't even go over like the rules or what the club wants or anything like that. They just go up there, they jump right into their set, and then they bring somebody up. You know what I mean? And I think there's some type of expectation. You want to convey certain messages to the audience without. So that was I got lucky though. I got 5 minutes right under my belt, and Ben Jones, we both know, one of my good buddies. He
great guy.
Him and Robert Avery were going down to Carolina Comedy Club in Myrtle Beach. RIP. It's no longer with us, and he got me a guest spot on there. The lady Leslie, I've always told her if I ever get famous, I'm gonna call her out. She's the one that gave him a big break, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? I know there's gonna be big breaks, but she gave me my big break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But her name's Leslie Blackman, and she now works at Stand Up Live in Alabama. She saw me. I went down there again because Robert was hosting one weekend. She said, next time I have you down here, I'm going to have you host. And now I'm not great at business, but when it comes to certain things that I like, I feel like I can talk my way into things, And so one of the things that's always stuck in my head is Jeff Foxworthy said this on a podcast one time. They said, some guy asked, what makes you so good at what you're doing? Jeff Foxworthy, you know what I mean? Because is he necessarily the funniest ever? No, but he's one of the best comedic businessmen I think that are out there.
He's a great comedian, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not. Yeah. I grew up on him. He's like one of my favorites. I'm just saying, as far as like you never hear him. I feel like he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves.
Sure, yeah. I've never been a big Jeff Foxworthy fan, but he's a really good comic.
Absolutely, yeah. But one of the things he said that's always stuck in my mind is they were like, "What did you do in your comedy career?" And he was like, "I always looked for the unopened spot, like the unopened parking spot. Like you're in you're in a packed, supermarket thing. You're looking for that one spot that nobody else is taking. You know what I mean? He's like, with the blue collar thing, he saw the Kings of Comedy do something. He was like, hey, there's nobody doing this for us. Let's do this. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then he was talking about the redneck calendar stuff and how he it was like, I was just looking for the he has a game now. I can't remember what it is. It's like the Cards Against Humanity or something like that.
Yeah.
He was talking about how
is that his game?
No. So
okay.
he has a clean version of it that's exploded.
Wow.
For friend, it's like family because he said that his kids were playing it in front of his grandparents. He was like, well, it's very popular. All these people are playing it. Why not do a clean one? So he set up one night, wrote 500 cards out in a night.
Wow.
500 cards out, and they played that rest thing, and then he sold it to somebody.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? And so that's what I tried to do. So I asked her when I got down there. I was like, do y'all have any? Do y'all need a regular host, weekend host? She's like, well, I've got somebody for Saturdays and Sundays. I really only need somebody for Fridays, which sucked for me because I'm working 9 to 5, But I said, I got it. I was like, whenever you need me, call me. So I would use my sick days. I would use my part-time. I would make up shit. I'd lie to the baby mamas, whatever I had to do so that I could leave on Friday, drive down there. Sometimes I would drive back that night to Myrtle Beach, so 3.5, 4 hours down, do 2 shows, drive back, or either I'd sleep on the beach or in my car or something and drive back. I did that for 6, 7 months, something like that, until they closed it. And then same thing happened. This is where I think people, when they talk about luck and opportunity meeting, when you just do the right things, I feel like some of this stuff is what's happened to me. I feel like I put in the right road work, and then every now and then something will happen where I can take advantage of it. You still got to do good when you get the shot.
That's a very entrepreneurial mindset too.
Yeah.
You sacrifice up front so you can reap the rewards later.
I think comedians are more entrepreneurial than they know, because in a traditional job, quote unquote job, right? You get paid to show up. You get paid to train. You get paid to learn how to do your job. Actually, when you show up at most jobs, you're actually a cost to me, right? I might invest $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in you, right, to educate you to do what I need you to do before you're really of any value to me. And I'm paying you the whole time while you're learning. Whereas in comedy, it's very much like an entrepreneur. We work for free, and in the beginning, you add value and try to add value, and at the end of the day, you hope to get paid, right? You hope to get the payoff. And I think comedy is very much that way. You guys put a tremendous amount of self-work in, and you constantly, from what I can tell, the ones, especially the ones you see improve, they're constantly reevaluating and rerunning, and they're playing it over and over and over. And if we think about it, the process you guys go through, because me as a spectator, like when I'm in there, I actually enjoy the open mics because I see you guys working through your shit. And for me, I kind of relate it to business. That's kind of like, in some ways, very similar to us working through our shit.
I think everything is the same. It's all jiu-jitsu, right? It's
exactly.
It's repetition.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I love that you I know y'all don't love it, but I love that you don't get paid to learn, right?
Oh, no, you still don't. Like, I thought, in my head, because I didn't know. You don't know until you actually get a spot like that, because people are going to lie to you. You hear bullshit all the time, right? So until you actually get like a feature spot or something, because I was always like, all right, if I can just because I've seen features traveling with people. So in my head, before I realized you got to travel with somebody to be make the money like that. I thought just once you became a feature,
right.
You start getting work all the time. You do this. No, I've had a few, and then it's still like, all right. So I still ain't made. Yeah, it's still not here. All right, so we got to, we got to keep.
You got to keep getting there. We've got we got that one coming up that I don't know if we can talk about it now at this point or
sure. Yeah, I mean we have it's not promoted yet, but
but we got a pretty big one coming up. I think Neil and I are going to be with TCBS and with us. We're going to be starting to put on
some nice shows,
several times a year. Yeah,
man.
Yeah, so it's
heard it here first. Clip it. That's number 2, Seth.
Yeah, that's number 2. But I'm sure we'll have a big release and a big announcement. But yeah, so I think we'll probably. Well, I think it's what do you think? We'll seat 500-600 people, sell out?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I was kind of waiting for that for you. I don't know why. I just had this feeling because I'd seen a guy that reminds me of you. His name's made friends with him on that writing group and stuff. He owns this club called The Riot down in
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So he just opened that recently, and he looked like when I see what he's done in life, y'all almost have like mirror image on some stuff. Like both very business oriented. Y'all both had success in other places. Now you're actually following your passions.
Yeah.
And like he took it to the next level, opened up his own. and he hosts all the time there. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure,
why wouldn't you? I mean, that's the best time to get. You know,
That's what Earthquake did.
exactly. I'm telling y'all, hosting for me, like that's gave me more confidence than anything else. Because also, I feel like when you get used to going out in front of a cold crowd, and then once you learn some trick, it makes you learn tricks real fast to get them warmed up. Yeah, you're not gonna kill them, but just
I need to start hosting more too.
Well,
yeah.
So, and this is not to blow smoke up your ass. So when they said Hulin was on the thing, right? I saw the notes. I didn't put that name with you.
That's funny.
Right? It just didn't dawn on me, right?
Yeah.
But I remember one of your first things because I was going to check him out and everything.
Yeah.
I remember it, and I remember it being uneventful for me, right? Like I just was like, oh, it's another one of the guys that tried. And then over time, a little bit, we got to talk some, and I got to go see you a couple times. But there was a long gap that I didn't see you, and then I came back and I saw you, and I remember going, oh shit, it got noticeably better, right? Like it was a big. I don't know if that was like a 6-month gap or a year gap, but like it was like a big difference.
It was a little while. I took
I think
from
it was
the Idiot Box. The Idiot Box, I love the Idiot Box. I've told people before, it's home club, favorite club. Love the Idiot Box, but I feel more pressure there than I do anywhere else in this entire world.
Yeah.
When I walk in there, I can't explain it. I do not feel like I'm starting to force myself. I've gotten like I feel like the last few Thursdays or something, like I'm just trying to beat myself up there, but I can't explain it. I get into a headspace.
Well, what
that
that
bar.
is-
Remember that bar we went to? Because you did the bar with
The one next door.
no, the other bar,
Brew Scuttle or
the one next to the Coliseum.
Yeah. Okay. Next to the Coliseum.
Oh yeah. I know which one. The one
Yeah.
that closed down or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I remember
Oh, yeah, okay,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
that's like it was around that time that I saw you again, and again, and it was like I got a whole different vibe of your material, like and like you just like I don't know how to explain it. It was just different.
The pressure you feel at the Idiot Box, that's because those are your colleagues.
Yeah.
And those people are going to judge us more than anybody else because they know you. You know, it's always easier to perform in front of people that don't know you.
Off the cuff, best.
And they've all heard your shit too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like we've all heard it. We've all heard each other 1,000 times. So
most iconic laugh at the Idiot Box. Who's your vote?
it's got to be.
It's got to be Jermaine,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
That's, I was going to say. I was like, it's got to.
that's the only one that pops in my head. Him or Philip. I don't know. Philip. I love Philip to death. The redhead.
Yeah.
I can't remember his last name, but
McLaughlin.
yeah. But sometimes that's like a heckle laugh. Like some people think they're helping sometimes, and that really throws you off when you just got one person laughing at your jokes. You're like, you're making me feel worse about myself because you're trying to help.
Well, see,
like, don't help.
I
Just
feel
let me
like
fail.
I'm laughing and I'm the only one sometimes.
Yeah.
But y'all don't know is I'm not in there, so I don't hear it all the time. So for me, it's like I like to laugh. I get in there and I'll hear his stuff, and it gets me in a good spot. It gets me in a good mental spot. I like to smile, man.
That's the best.
Feels
Yeah.
good.
How you
It's
feel-
therapeutic.
Yeah.
I like watching y'all kind of sometimes crash and burn a little bit, and it makes me feel good about myself. God, selfishly.
It's good every time. I always like doing that because it's like it's when you get too confident is when you're gonna have a bad one. So if you're ever feeling like you're doing good, just go to an open mic. Just like that's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
Like, if you ever want to bring yourself back down to level, you like doing shows. Go to an open mic, and then you will not feel good anymore.
I want to eventually do one just to crash and burn. I've been talking about this for like.
I have heard
long
you.
time.
I watch it. I've heard you talk about it.
It's gonna happen.
He's like,
It's gonna happen at some point. I was gonna tell Jenny, be like, "Hey, Jenny, let me
tonight. Let's do it tonight.
Yeah,
Let's do it
yeah.
tonight and record it.
What are you gonna talk about? I don't know. I should have you recorded though. I should be like, Neil.
I'll record it for you.
I should go there and be really confident. Be like, all right, I got Neil in the back. We're recording this. We're gonna. No.
It's
Do it live.
Do
Up
it
the
live.
stakes. Do it live.
Yeah.
Get on your phone.
Don't do that. I'll record it for you. Though.
I'd say some offensive ass shit. I'm sure, and I'd think it's funny, and it's really not funny.
Just make sure you record. I've started doing that. I'll get the sometimes at the open mics. I like to record the reactions as well. Like I don't care as much about the sound quality because I want to see how the people are like.
Yeah, you want
Doing
to
it.
hear what you're doing. Yeah.
I love one last. Matter of fact, it was Seth's reaction that got me the most this past week. I don't know if he knew that the camera was like right behind him the whole time I was there, but he was ADD and stuff, so he's just like drumming the whole time, and then he like starts listening, and then I say the worm joke.
Oh,
he
yeah.
he said, that was disgusting. That was not.
That's funny.
That was me?
I got. You want to see it? Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Disgusting. That doesn't sound. I'd say gross.
Oh yeah. You might have said gross.
That's
now
fine.
you ruined my joke. Thanks, Sam. Twice now. Twice.
Got him again.
That's great, man.
We talk about the comedies though. I tell you, everybody's. I'll tell you this. I've said this before too. I truly believe in faking it till you make it in a lot of stuff too. I think you gotta put out. And I think make it's the wrong thing. I think you got to believe it.
Speaking
delusional.
Speaking into existence. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
You have to have some level of delusion to make it in art. Because
Right.
you're an artist, and you're just trying to express your ideas. And the goal, like my goal as an artist, is to create art that's because it's not you're not doing it for money. But I want to create art that's good enough that people want to see it, and a lot of people want to see it and enjoy it, and you can create an experience. But you have to believe in yourself enough to make that happen because. Otherwise, there's no chance. You have to have a little bit of delusion there.
So the funny thing about the Comedy Zone too is I'm pretty sure y'all can ask anybody. Nobody around the scene really goes up there, right?
I know.
And so,
well, yeah.
So when
actually,
I first
most of the
started,
people on the scene talk shit about it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
And so once again, when the pandemic happened, in my head, I listened to too many podcasts to not believe it, and too many of the big names were saying it. Somebody pressed the reset button on comedy, kind of, right? So the huge arena guys, when the pandemic started, when nobody was touring, nobody was doing anything, huge arena guys, they got sent back to doing these clubs like the Comedy Zone, like Funny Bones, like Bonkers, right? And so the headliners that were doing those, they went to features, which means all the host spots were opened up again. No, because the features, some of them were too proud to host.
Yeah.
Quit comedy. Some of them just kind of wrote it out until now they're getting back into it and stuff. I just felt like it was a prime opportunity to get in there, and then if you learn fast enough, you could do stuff, and it paid off. And so one other thing in the books too, with I heard a lot of the old guys said that they used to go to the comedy clubs when they weren't working.
Yeah,
they'd hang out until afterwards, maybe try to talk to comedians, something like that. So when I first started going to the Comedy Zone, I wasn't getting called as much. To host all the time. Like I'd get called like David Keckner. That was the first one I got. That was the luck thing, right? So one of my buddies, Robert Avery, shout out, he was supposed to host that one, right? And then he just he had some like personal issues or something that day. Whatever reason, he said he didn't want to do it, couldn't do it. And so he was like, "You want to?" So they recommended me.
You stepped on his foot.
Yeah.
You stepped on his foot. Is he a bigger guy or no?
Yeah.
You used that basketball move.
Yeah. No, I just fucked his girlfriend. No, no, I'm just kidding. She's too ugly. He couldn't do it. I stepped in, and then he knew my name, right? So he wasn't still calling me then. So but I had been going up there during the pandemic when it opened back up. That was the only club in North Carolina that opened up. So I'd go up there just to watch the shows, right?
Yeah.
So the bartenders started to know me, the waitresses started to know me. Then I hosted one time, right? And then I just started going up there when comedians that I were up there, and I just go up there like on a Friday night, right? And I would take pictures or something with my phone. That's how I got Preacher Lawson. So Preacher Lawson, I took pictures on my phone with him all night. And then after the show was over, since I'm friends with everybody now, I get to hang out after all the regular people leave. I walk up to him. I was like, "Hey man, I usually host here when they need a host or something, but I decided to take some pictures of it. If you want them, we can exchange." I was basically just trying to meet Preacher Lawson and talk to him. Yeah. And his mom saw one of the pictures. She was like, "Oh, I like that." Da, da, da. He was like, "Why don't you host tonight?" And I was like, "Well, y'all didn't need a host tonight." He's like, "Be here tomorrow." He's like, "Don't worry about the money. Come see me afterwards." He's like, "I'll take care of everything." So he talked to the owner. He told him I was going to host. And so that's how I got to host Preacher. And then I remember Preacher when I went up there. So Preacher Lawson, he's notorious for clean shows, right? And he wants the feature to be clean, wants the host to be clean, family friendly, fun for all ages, right? The first two shows, though, weren't quite as much. The feature didn't get the memo, right? But this was a Sunday show I was going to host for him. And I go up there. And so it's weird as a comedian when somebody tells me family friendly, since I have kids, I'm thinking at the time, because I'm nervous. It's Preacher Lawson. I'm thinking there's going to be 5-year-olds in there. And how am I supposed to make a 5-year-old laugh, right? So I'm trying to write jokes for 5 and 7-year-olds and stuff like that. I'm like going up there, and I'm nervous, and I get up there, and I'm outside waiting before I go up. And Preacher comes up, and Preacher Lawson goes, he's like, "Hey." He doesn't talk to like, as I got out of my car, I was walking up, and he was there. He was like, "Hey, to remind you, kids are going to be in there today." And that's what he said. He didn't say it's going to be a family-friendly show. He said kids. And so once again, in my head, I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to talk to 5-year-olds about? And I get up there and I look in the room. There's nobody. There's like a 16-year-old in there. So you know what I mean? So I was like, all right. So I just got to be clean at that point. And I go up there but I'm nervous outside the whole time. I go up there and I crush. I actually did pretty good. You know, I get off. The feature goes up. Preacher pulls me outside. He was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't think you were going to do anything. When you went up there, you had me pretty nervous when I saw you outside, you know, and then you just like kind of, you know, turned on. I was like, I'm bipolar. It's fine. Like whenever the stage light comes on, the happy Hulin comes out. And as soon as that goes off, you know, sad Hulin comes back out. But, and then he paid me more than, probably gotten paid by somebody before. It was crazy. Like he's the most generous, nicest guys too. But I did that with a few guys. Before I actually started getting called, you know, weekly, it was me going up there on a Thursday or a Friday, or I would scope out their schedule, see who's coming that I wanted to work with, go up there that night, and then somehow I would wiggle my way into the shows. You know what I mean? Like awesome. Either the comedian would like me, or somebody would. A few times somebody fell out, didn't show up, so then I had stepped in or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's just those things you read about it in these books, and you can still do stuff old school way. There's new schools. A few times I've reached out to people on Instagram. The one I got Eric Griffin that weekend. I wasn't supposed to work that weekend. I reached out to Eric Griffin beforehand, and all I messaged him was like, "Hey, really big fan. Loved you since Workaholics. Just would be honored to say shared the stage with you or something like that. Anyway, I can get a guest spot." Went up there. The guy that was it was a 2-man show, and he was a regular feature. He wasn't, you know, some of those guys when they don't host for a while, it's like a skill you kind of lose to an extent. You know what I mean? It's like they don't like it. They want to be the feature. Like these guys have been doing. They don't want to be the host / feature.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that worked out where I was just supposed to do a guest spot, and then I ended up hosting for 3 shows because it was like he didn't want to do it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, and then now I've gotten lucky where they've started to hit me up.
It's pretty regular now.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But, I don't know, man. It's just one of those things. I feel like some people, I've just never been type to wait around for shit to happen, and especially after watching the comedy scene period, I just feel like it's the people that are just moving and shaking and constantly going different places, constantly making connections. Because like my whole goal when I first started this was to, it was legit to become, because first time I ever saw comedy was at the Comedy Zone. It's live comedy. It was at the Comedy Zone. So my goal was to become the host there. And I saw Chris Wilde's huge fan growing up. It still am. He was the first person to bring me out on the road to feature, you know.
He had a dinner here with us
2 years ago.
Yeah. Eric got him. Eric met him and stuff. But yeah, so I know my family. We know Paul really well. That owns Comedy Zone.
Yeah, Paul.
Pete's, and I grew up same thing with.
You've
Chris.
done business with Paul.
We've done business with Paul, and he's been.
I'm
he's,
sorry,
yeah,
Paul. I'm just kidding, Paul, if you're listening.
Yeah, but I think Paul's phenomenal. I love the fact that he opened up, you know, during the pandemic the way he did. Like the people that don't typically like certain successful business people usually just don't understand why they make the decisions they make. But me being a fellow business person, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I get it.
He's smart. Paul too.
I like Paul. He's intelligent.
It took him a while to warm up to me, but I think I finally broke the door after recently. But he has helped me become.
He deals with so much bullshit. He puts a barrier up. You know, he just wants to limit how many people he gives access to his time.
But he started like giving me tidbits here and there.
Yeah.
And like because I'm always asking questions. You know what I mean? I mean, you ain't gonna learn. I don't give a fuck. I've never been afraid to sound stupid. Like somebody told me. Well, I remember that was the one thing in elementary school that stuck with me is there is no dumb question. So I will ask everything I want to know. I don't care if you know what I'm saying. But he's actually helped me become a really good host. He has given me. He has said things like when I messed up or something, he will pull me to the side afterward, or he'll wait till the end of the night, you know, which is cool because he doesn't do it right away because I don't get it in my head or something. But he'll wait till the end of the night or something, and he'll say, "Hey, you might have said this, and this. Let's I want this type of this in here. You know, maybe not do this." But it's not just for his club. When he tells me that, it's great advice for everywhere you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's weird. Like I was like, "Damn, that's smart."
Because he's thinking about what's going to benefit his business.
Right.
Like he doesn't want you to say something that's going to hurt his business.
And exactly. And sometimes
you know what would crush real quick? I hate to segue.
Okay,
you know what would crush? Because of all the bullshit with Disney right now, I still think Chris Wilde's old Mickey sticking it. You know the whole you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That whole bit about that. You never got to see it, did you?
No, that
Chris had this amazing bit about going to Disney World and like
boy.
like a $22 hot dog at the stand and taking it in the air. It was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And that would, you know, with all the Disney stuff going on, I felt like Chris should have brought that back out of his toolbox and like really.
I think I actually heard him. I think he did something like that down in Georgia or Florida when we went down there. He did one of the old Mickey voices. Or
he's on the road a lot now, right?
He does a bunch. He's like a Carnival Cruise. Like he's one of the main guys.
Oh,
there.
okay.
And that's a weird whole scene too. Did you ever be a comedian on like a cruise ship or something like that? Because apparently, like you get like graded and stuff on these things. Like every show.
Yeah,
and
Tom's
stuff
been
like
doing
that.
a lot of those.
Oh, Tom. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Seems fun though. Be able to go just
Yeah.
It does seem fun. Yeah,
unless
Well,
you get sick on the cruise ship like he did, I guess.
that would be.
The only
fun.
thing I can think, I guess it's all, all your food, all your meals, everything's free.
Yeah.
I would assume.
I think it's pretty isolating though. I don't think they let you
Mingle and
mingle
shit.
on the
Yeah.
ship. I think you kind of have to stay with the crew. So I think it's that's probably not fun, but the shows are probably fun.
So how do we feel about Bud Light?
I don't drink.
Wait.
I don't really
so,
drink
yeah.
that much either anymore.
I mean, I think it's a dangerous move for businesses to get involved into political
weird,
things or
isn't
this or
it?
that. But I don't drink, so I don't particularly care. But there's a lot of people care a lot. So
I just
Bud
thought
Light's a German-owned company, isn't it?
it's Anheuser-Busch. or
yeah,
whatever it
yeah,
was.
Yeah.
So
I just thought it was funny, Kid Rock. That's why everybody's.
I don't know what happened. I
He-
saw
he-
something
he
about it.
took his machine guns
Yeah,
essentially and
basically.
shot up.
But it was just funny.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It looked
okay.
like he
I
had
didn't know what it was
tears
about.
in his
though.
eyes. I was like,
he felt some type of way.
I think somebody's protesting too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a business, you have to look. If you create controversy, it's cheap marketing, right? I don't think Bud Light needed that, but if you think about that is the only possible benefit I could come up with because you put yourself right at the center of debate with everybody. I just don't like businesses. I just wish businesses would just be business.
Yeah, they're just corporations.
Yeah, they're
They
just
have-
corporations,
yeah.
right? Like I don't think they should be getting involved, but that's my personal opinion, right? Like I just want to be able to eat my bagel and not portray by eating my bagel that I believe the way that this corporate entity believes. I just want to eat my bagel. I want the company to make the bagel the best bagel, right? And I don't give a shit about their beliefs, their belief systems. They can be I don't care. Pick the worst religion or anti-religion, and that could be them, and I don't give two
Yeah, you
fucks.
can worship Satan. I don't care.
I don't care. But
if you have
that's
good
the
coffee,
best,
I want that coffee.
exactly. I just want
It's like-
them to focus. I want them to stay in their lane.
I want to ask y'all because y'all probably be the right guys to ask about this. I've always kind of wondered this. So why do these big companies like Coke and Pepsi, Budweiser, Bud Light, all the people that we know, like you just see, you don't even have to see the whole label. You can just see the outline.
The
You see-
monopolies.
why do they still advertise? Why, if they stop
There's-
advertising, will we stop drinking Coke?
There's
and Bud
still
Light
a
and
big.
stuff?
There's still a big competition, and what you
Yeah.
don't see is they're buying up anybody that comes in and competes and starts to take
Yeah.
market share. They buy them up.
And it's also
The competition between Coke and Pepsi have a massive competition,
Right.
right?
I
So
hate
they're
to
But
break
why?
in, I hate to break in, Hulin, but we're at 2:11. I know you had to.
yeah, we're
gotta
wrapping
get
up here in a
kids.
second. Yeah.
So I think they've got a formula. X% of revenue is going to be for marketing,
Sure.
and I think they stick to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what we're dealing with at this point. And I don't know how much they would lose, but I do think over time they would lose market share. But it
It's-
would take a lot of time.
It's also it's also a statement. When you see like Coca-Cola has enough money that you constantly see them,
Oh yeah, everywhere in the world.
it's like saying we're the ones that have the biggest market share.
Well-
we're the powerful organization.
Coke
here.
is actually the most powerful globally, but that's the other thing I was going to get at is that they weren't just trying to market to American citizens; they were trying to market to all the tourism that came in. So you got to think about all the people. They were trying to be a global presence.
What do you
about that.
what do you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
wars are about?
Yeah.
Wars are about
Coke?
market shares.
No, man, it's market. It's global market share.
It's
right?
global market
So
share.
The companies you see in this country, we think as Americans, we only think inside of our city, our county,
Oh,
our
yeah,
state,
absolutely. That's what I was
or our
saying.
country, right? When you think about these companies, they're trying to be global companies, right? So they're thinking about global GDP, right? So
Yeah.
you think about it from
That
that
makes sense
angle.
now. Yeah, yeah.
Coke wanted to be recognizable anywhere in the world,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah, yeah.
so that's the other side too, right? But anyway, I know you got to go.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Been
Guys,
cool
I
having you,
appreciate it.
dude.
Yeah, thank y'all for
Finally.
having me,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
enjoy it.
How can people find you on social media or YouTube or whatever?
Just Hulin Saunders on anything. I'm pretty sure if you just type in Hulin Saunders on Facebook or Instagram, and then it might be comedian Hulin Saunders on YouTube or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just started the YouTube. I'm way behind on the social stuff. I was the other thing. I was just trying to focus on being funny for a while.
Yeah,
Now I'm
that's
trying-
most important. Yeah,
Now I'm
Yeah.
trying to like.
That's
get
more
to-
important than everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thank y'all for having me.
yeah, dude, it's been a
Appreciate it.
pleasure, man.
Yeah.
We'll have you back too. We have more time, but
Yeah, yeah.
hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.
Later,
Bye,
guys.
guys.